Hello and welcome to Boomer Live once again, ladies and gentlemen. As we promised last night that we'd be back today, and we're back with cricket. Obviously, it's a long time since we did a cricket stream. So India have leveled the series against South Africa. That's the first good news to start off with. Big series for India, and they managed to level it. So that is good news. Surya Kumar Yadav once again scoring his fourth T20 100. It's no mean feat for any batter to score even 100, but he scored four T20 hundreds. He's on level path with Rohit Sharma as an Indian batter to score four T20 hundreds. Now, when we take some of the greats of T20 cricket, I think Surya Kumar Yadav will possibly finish as the greatest possibility I've ever played T20 cricket from India, or possibly the greatest T20 batter. Alongside that, last match sparked a lot of debates on Kuldeep Yadav's inclusion, but today he shut that up with a fifer in a T20, which is also a big deal. You don't pick up 5 wickets every day in T20 format. And Kuldeep Yadav with the strap South Africa proved it once again why he is still the most reliable spinner. Jen, your thoughts? What a phenomenal win today for India.
Yeah, it was as comprehensive as they come able. Surya Kumar Yadav, the skipper for India, scoring another 100. I mean, every time Surya Kumar Yadav scores 100, all for Sarino, and it was just one of those hundreds again. You might say that he struggled in one day. He's really not at all made a name for himself in tests and
Yeah.
what one opportunity that he's gotten. But T20, he's taken to it like fish to water, and it just doesn't matter which shade of blue he plays for India or Mumbai Indians. You always know that there's a great T20 innings in there when Surya Kumar Yadav's in the heart. Aside from that, even Yashasvi Jaiswal, it's very important for him and Shubman Gill, considering that now Ruturaj Gaikwad again missed another one due to his illness. But
Was
it
it
was
today
really,
because of illness?
yeah, I mean, that's what was told to us
That was
officially.
3 days ago.
No, today as well. It was because of illness. Yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, it's really important for him because you don't know if Kohli and Rohit are going to be available, are going to be selected. Rather, I think they are available. Are going to be selected in the T20 World Cup. So Yashasvi Jaiswal and Shubman Gill, both of them have huge roles to play. And considering how good today's innings was, again a very flawless innings, you would have to say till the wicket fell. But overall, really impressed with him as well.
Absolutely. I mean, those were good innings to start off with. But I thought, once again, a missed opportunity for Shubman Gill. Should have
Yeah.
really converted. His, his weakness against spin up front is now being even more prominent because they are using either the ball coming in or him not able to clear spin. And Tilak Verma wasting another opportunity, in my opinion, because last match he looked good when there were a lot of wickets which fell from the other end. He looked extremely good, but he couldn't really score runs. But how many opportunities will you get is now the biggest question, isn't it? How long can you lengthen your rope? As you mentioned, if it is not for illness, do you find any reason why Ruturaj shouldn't be playing ahead of Shubman Gill in this team?
No, I mean not at all. Now that if you really look at it, if there's one reason I see Shubman Gill playing ahead is probably only because of his cred that he's made in one day and test for India. But aside from that, so far Ruturaj has been a better T20 player, especially lately. He's got 100 against Australia as well in that at the home series. So
Yeah.
now all of a sudden you would have to say that the scales are tipping towards Ruturaj Gaikwad. But then I think there's still going to be a little bit more debate that's going to happen because Shubman can play in T20 cricket. It's not like he is someone who can't hold his bat or hold his own because we've seen in the IPL that he can play those knocks. But however, right now, as you rightly mentioned, slightly towards Ruturaj Gaikwad. There's a lot more to come though. I think this is one more series here after this.
Yeah, just one more.
Just one more series after this. So the next match now is a very important one, and Ruturaj will also be kicking himself, thinking that he's missing out on precious opportunities to make
Yeah.
a name for himself before the T20 World Cup because these are now I think two of those 6 matches that were left before the start of the series is out of his way.
Three.
Two I think. No,
One was
one
rained
more
out
is
as well.
left.
One was rained
Oh,
out.
one was rained out. So, yeah, I mean that pretty much means that if he's got 3 more matches, but as of now, just a little bit ahead.
Absolutely. Teju's here. He says, after Sky sitting that spell from Siraj set the tone for India. I agree with you. Siraj's spell up front was great, especially to get the maiden over up front. That really put a lot of pressure in, chasing 10 runs per over. You cannot afford to even play out an over. But Siraj looked good even in the last match, even in a game where Indian bowlers traveled for 11 runs per over. I thought Siraj was a pick of the bowlers. And Siraj again shows why he is one of the very few bowlers in that T20 mix who can bowl with a lot of control because Arshdeep Singh has been erratic. Mukesh Kumar is erratic. I really understand his inclusion in the team either ways. But other than that, last match we saw Kuldeep and Siraj ball a lot better. But I personally think Siraj will be a part of the team, especially when it comes to T20 World Cup alongside Bumrah.
Yeah.
But it's going to be for the number 8 spot, isn't it? Who is going to grab that? Is it going to be a bowler? Is it going to be a batter? Is it going to be a spinner bowler? Is it going to have pace bowler or a spin bowling all rounder? That's going to be up for the grabs. But Shubman Gill is something which we have to talk about because mixing formats is something which we've done for the longest period of time. Shubman Gill has got 8 single-digit scores in his T20 career in 13 innings. And to add to that, he's got 100 against New Zealand in Ahmedabad earlier this year and maybe 150. That's what he's got as credentials as a T20I batter. Now, if you take those two knocks out of the way, he's scored less than 100 runs. Now, that's a very bad stat to have if you are someone of Shubman Gill's caliber in 13 innings in international career.
Absolutely. I mean, that's what's so shocking, isn't it? Because we see him in the IPL. He's done well in the past two IPLs for Gujarat Titans. He's been the pick of their players, and now this year again he's going to be the captain for them, and that just shows how important a T20 batter he's been for Gujarat Titans. However, you're absolutely right when it comes to India. He's just not really clicked, and I think I really don't know what it is because you can't say he's in case of Surya Kumar Yadav. Now you don't really have a sample space outside of maybe international cricketer. You can say maybe he can be a good a one-day batter, but for Shubman Gill, it's not like we don't know he's a good one-day batter. He is, and that's what's so baffling. I'm sure it's baffling for so many Indian fans that he's not performing well. Today also he got off to a good start. 12 of 5, he was looking really good. But as you rightly mentioned, just seems to be a bit tentative when he comes to playing against spinners early on. And Keshav Maharaj is someone who's very good at making that doubt come into batter's mind about that inside edge and the outside edge, whether the ball will turn or will he come on with the arm. And he once again fell for a very similar way, trying to sweep the ball. Because he was trying to get out of jail there. It wasn't the kind of thought out sweep. It was more as in he wanted to get out of it or really want to put pressure back on Maharaj because maybe somewhere Maharaj did get into his head, and that's where I think this issue of him against spinners is now also starting to affect him slightly, I would say, in his headspace.
Absolutely. But another player I really want to talk about, I mean, we won today, but we have to talk about Yashasvi Jaiswal, right? I mean, what a phenomenal player he's been. And on certain days, he might not score you once, but when he gets going, he can win you games and he can set the momentum. And today you saw alongside Surya Kumar Yadav, there was a period where Surya Kumar Yadav was 35-29 balls. Then Surya Kumar Yadav got the move on where he scored that 22 of 4 balls odd and he really took the charge. But I personally felt that particular period, Yashasvi was looking in prime touch. He made sure he got going. He put the pressure back on South African bowlers. There was no point where you really felt like, South Africa isn't back in the game. Though they lost 2 wickets in 2 balls and the game was slightly tilted towards South Africa, but then that was sucked out all of a sudden by Yashasvi Jaiswal's counter-attacking inning. That's the way he plays. You think Yashasvi Jaiswal can be secure of a spot in the T20 team, or you still think it will be between Rohit Sharma, Ruturaj, and Shubman?
I think I mentioned this in the previous live as well. When we spoke about how and why I just feel Rohit and Virat should take a step back in T20I cricket. It's nothing to do against them and their batting prowess. I just feel this is the best format for us as a country to start that transition to the next era. And Rohit and Virat are towards the end. I mean, I know we all want to see them lift the World Cup, but I just feel that's another question. Yeah, I mean, for me personally, I wanted to see lift. I mean, I wanted to see them lift the One-Day World Cup because I just feel like, especially for someone like Rohit Sharma, being someone who admires Rohit Sharma for a long time, just feel like that would have completed his, helped him complete cricket, so as to say, because he's won everything else that is there to win, including a Champions Trophy and a Champions League as well, if you remember ones that we had in cricket. So I just felt that was their period. Now, unfortunately for me, I just see them being in the team kind of disrupting the balance of the team as well. Because now with Yashasvi Jaiswal is the one person that I feel will miss out if Rohit Sharma comes in. And I just feel like that shouldn't be...
Who will Rohit Sharma replace?
I think who will Rohit Sharma replace? Most likely it's going to be Yashasvi. Or else maybe you have to give up Shubman or Ruturaj.
Yeah, I think that's going to be...
I think that's
it's going to be a right hand. It's going to be a right hand house.
I mean, that makes sense as well. But then, you also have to say that Ruturaj and... not Shubman as much, but Ruturaj especially has kind of edged ahead in terms of the three of them for me at least, because while Yashasvi is very talented, he's done really well. He's yet to convert it into a lot long-term performance or really impactful performances which completely ends the match towards one side. Ruturaj has done that for India. I think
I don't think so.
at least you have
Just
to say
one
that
series.
Australia game. I mean, he's done it
Even
once.
Yashasvi did it.
When did Yashasvi do it?
Yashasvi did it in the Australia series as well. Just that he didn't score 100. He scored 350.
Yeah, that's my point. Yeah, I mean, my point being
And he
precisely
scored before
that.
that as well. Yashasvi had done that consistently whenever he's gotten.
He's performed those 50 and 60s. He's yet to score 100.
I mean,
Or
you're
he's
saying
yet to
there's
score a big
100
one.
and you can keep scoring low scores.
Fair enough. In your books, maybe, yeah. But then for me, I just feel, if you
I
look at
think
the roles as
if
well.
you look, Yashasvi is a sure starter because he gives a lot more dynamism.
So you're saying Ruturaj instead of, like Rohit instead of Ruturaj?
Yeah, absolutely.
But regardless, I just feel Ruturaj and Yashasvi for me will. I just want.
I'd choose Yashasvi any day. Left-hand batter, a lot
Yeah,
more
I would say Yashasvi
fearless.
and Ruturaj.
Because
Together as
Ruturaj,
openers.
I still think Ruturaj is great, and no disrespect, but if I have to say if one person have to be draw for Rohit Sharma, it should be Ruturaj Gaikwad, and Yashasvi remains in that team because he brings in a lot more into this team when it comes to his ability to pull the ball, hook the ball. He's good on the back foot. Uh, Spin is one area which he has to improve, I think, especially power hitting against spin.
Yeah.
That's where he struggles slightly. Which Ruturaj has got a slide ahead. He's slightly ahead in that. Ruturaj, I think, struggles against high quality pace. He does not have a power game there, which Yashasvi certainly does. Yashasvi can take the game on.
Yeah.
I think Yashasvi gives a lot more dynamism up front, which Ruturaj takes a lot more time, which we cannot afford to do. If Rohit Sharma takes time there, I know Rohit Sharma will not, but we don't know what kind of Rohit Sharma we can expect as well. So if Rohit Sharma wants to play the slow knock by chance, Yashasvi is going to give a lot more dynamism. Then you can have whoever you want at number 3. I think number 3 is up for the grabs right now. Number 3 and number 2.
Yeah.
And that's where Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli are going to walk into this team. Now, with the series, you have a better structure. I think Jitesh is going to keep. I think Rinku will have to make for Hardik in the T20 World Cup, unfortunately.
I think I'll go a slightly different way, yeah, and I'll tell you why.
Or else Virat doesn't come into this team. Or Surya plays at 3, Rinku at 4, or Hardik at 4, Rinku at 5, and Jitesh at 6.
I think I'll go a slightly different way. I mean, for me, I feel now I'm looking at roles here and not really looking at left arm, right hand combination. And I agree that's one way to definitely go about it. I just feel Rohit will play the same way that he did in the One Day World Cup, and if he plays the same way, then you need someone like a Ruturaj who can hold up that one end
You
and
don't
play
have
the
to
knock.
hold that in T20 cricket. It's T20 format. You don't have to.
I know. I don't think Ruturaj is the kind of player who's just going to stay there. And
I think
you've seen him play.
I think you need the
after
left
30
hand,
balls.
right hand will always work a lot better than right hand, right. And I think that's been the case in T20 format, and that's where a lot of teams have had success. And I think India should try something different. I mean, we've stuck with that old formula of having one batter who goes out to hit. Let the 2 batters go it, and let's see what happens. And I think that's a right way to go in T20 format. Let's change things around. It all depends on a lot of contingent factors at this point, which I see only happening if 2 players come into the team.
Yeah.
Or Ruturaj and Yashasvi should ideally
that's
open in the
pretty
T20
much,
World Cup. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if the senior players are not being involved, then it's definitely going to be Ruturaj and Yashasvi as of now. We still have, I think, 3 more T20Is to go, and the IPL as well, which will have a huge amount of bearing.
Big
I
IPL
think,
for Ruturaj for me.
I think Ruturaj and Shubman Gill, that debate will be decided in the IPL.
Yes.
Even Rohit and Virat's inclusion will be decided in the IPL. I feel that's where IPL will play such a huge tournament, and considering the fact that it's gonna happen in West Indies and USA. Now US, we don't know how the pitches are gonna be, but
grounds are not even ready.
Or exactly, precisely my point. I think West Indies, one thing for sure, it's gonna be a slow track. And Indian conditions, especially.
But for T20, it's a mix. I just was watching the T20 series against England, and it's gonna be good batting decks. I mean, I think the big spinners are gonna come into play, but good decks also you can expect. Unless you're playing so many games in one certain venue, I think that's not gonna be the case. Mix of venues are gonna be there. If they can give good tracks, you always will get high scoring games in West Indies as well. You saw that in CPL because certain games are overplayed in those conditions. But I think for ICC tournaments, I'm not expecting sluggish wicket. You could be taken by surprise. Obviously, spinners are going to be in the play a lot more than any other World Cup. But at the same time, it's unfair if you're going to write that off, saying that it's going to be a spinning track and where you're going to see all spinners 130, 140 scores. I think it's going to be 160, 170 kind of World Cup.
Yeah.
Not certainly a 210, 220. It's not going to be one of those
Definitely
World Cups like what you see in IPL. It's going to be 160, 170 kind of World Cup. We'll take some questions here. While it's imagination thought. Yeah, I mean, I agree, Kapil, because the fact of the matter is India is a good team. India should have won the first match as well. And I think India have got the players. India have got great reserves. You jumped over my first comment. Take that. Yeah, I agree. Thank you for that. Also, it means a lot for us. For you that you're back watching cricket. Yeah, obviously we had to do football. It's
I mean,
beginning
I'll
of the
take a
year.
mind off the
Yeah,
cricket for a bit.
no, it's not taking mind off. We have to do
I
football.
had to.
We
That's not
we
it.
had to watch football quite prejudiciously, or we had to watch it in such a way that we take our mind off in one way, but at the same time cover it because the sport which uh, we are supposed to cover in this space. So
Yeah.
we did cover last night. We had an early morning stream. We saw a couple of few people joining in last morning at 3:30, so that was a good one. But yeah, that's what happens in football. The streams are going to be late night, so a lot of people might not be able to join as per cricket. But as the games are in South Africa, though it's a midnight stream, you people have joined, so that means a lot. But yeah, talking about which, I think one area India will still have to look forward is bowling
Yeah.
because though India won today by 100 runs, I still think there are issues and there have to be holes which have to be filled. I think Kuldeep Yadav Siraj is a ceiling, Bumrah is a walk-in. One spot remains. That's up for the grabs.
I mean, I think another big issue is going to be whether, I mean, you still don't. I don't think that same bowling lineup of the T20I is going to fit in again. I mean, one day is going to fit in T20I as well because, I mean, you need probably
85%,
until
90% of the
unless.
bowling can.
Yeah, I think most of the bowlers will. Jadeja will probably be in the squad.
Yeah.
Kuldeep definitely is going to be in the squad. Bumrah, Shami, sorry, Bumrah and Siraj.
Yeah.
I think Shami is the one player that probably.
It's going to be between Shami and Deepak Chahar, in my opinion.
Yeah,
I don't know why Deepak Chahar is not played in the series. It doesn't make any sense.
And from what I'm hearing now, Shami is going to miss. Is suffering a right angle injury. If I'm not wrong.
He's going to miss the T20. He's going to miss the Test series. 100%. Yeah.
So, and I think it makes sense as well. Looking at the World Cup, he wouldn't want to risk himself for the Test series. Just the early start of the WTC cycle as well. And while it is a very important series for India, you'd have to say
I think we
T20
can
World
cover
Cup
it up.
takes that precedence as well. And but having said that, that's still one area where there is some scope for grabbing and I mean, some scope for getting that spot where I think Deepak Chahar is definitely one of the options. Again, I'm surprised as well why he isn't part of the squad.
He's part of the squad. He's not part of the
Sorry,
11.
why isn't part of the 11 rather? Because he is a player who can also do the role that Shardul Thakur what India tried to do with Shardul Thakur, and he's done that well against South Africa before for us. So very surprising for me to see that. We've tried Mukesh Kumar relentlessly for I have no idea why. Because I feel with Siraj you can still try Arshdeep to be your death bowler. I know it's not really done well, but he's got the potential to be. And then you can really ask Chahar to bowl 3 overs up front in the power play, and I think that would really work for India as well. Today we did not need one, but I just felt like in the last game we needed that little bit of early new ball prowess which India did not show, and that's the reason why I felt South Africa got away with it.
Yeah, I'd like to see at least Deepak Chahar in the one-day team. If he's getting in the opportunity, he definitely should be there. Because for me, I have a lot of hopes on that guy for the T20 World Cup. I see Bumrah, Siraj, and Deepak Chahar to form my bowling attack alongside two spinners, which is obviously one all-rounder in Jadeja or Akshar Patel, and then Kuldeep Yadav or Ravi Bishnoi. So obviously Ravi Bishnoi will travel with the squad, will be part of the squad, but I don't see him feature in the 11, unfortunately. Though he's a world number one bowler, I think Kuldeep is slightly more attacking than Ravi Bishnoi, though he possesses a lot of skill sets, Ravi Bishnoi. No disrespect, when even though the ball was like, oh, how can you drop number one ODI bowler, T20 bowler, whatnot, but I told you, I keep that. And rankings don't matter, quality matters, and for me, Kuldeep Yadav is far more superior quality than Ravi Bishnoi.
Oh yeah, I mean, and he can get the ball to turn both the ways. And when I say that, I don't mean Ravi Bishnoi can't. What I mean to say is that you've got that over reliance of Googly when it comes to Ravi Bishnoi. Sometimes he tends to be a little one-dimensional where
he keeps balling short.
Drops the ball
yeah,
short, exactly short. As you say. Drops the ball way too short, gives the batter too much time. And despite bowling at a good pace, for some reason batters seem to have too much time while facing him. On the other hand, you just saw how Kuldeep Yadav is become really good when it comes to his control. He pushes that ball up where the batters are confused whether to play him on the back foot or the front foot. And there are so many times, especially we've always seen this, batters who are not subcontinental batters love to stay on the back foot and play spinners.
And the fact of the matter is, you can't play him out in the T20 format. You have to go after him, and that creates opportunity to pick up wickets.
Yeah.
And that's why Kuldeep Yadav thrives on those opportunities.
And I think if you combine him with Jadeja as well, that really makes a potent combination, because Jadeja is someone who doesn't give away runs easily. Then all of a sudden you're you're bound to go after Jadeja
Yeah.
or Kuldeep. And Kuldeep sometimes looks like that enticing option because he flights the ball a little bit more,
Yeah.
gives the ball a little bit more air. So you tend to, as a
Yeah.
batter looking for runs, go after him there. That's where Kuldeep really gets you.
Yeah, absolutely. And not just that, as you mentioned, if the pitches in West Indies are going to turn tad bit,
Yeah.
I think Jadeja is going to be in the game totally, and
Hmm.
that's all what he requires. Ravindra Jadeja to come into the game and really trap a web around an opposition team, and I think that's going to be a very interesting World Cup to watch. If there's slight bit of turn for the spinners, I think Kuldeep and Jadeja are going to be there in it. And if India wants, then they can play three spinners as well if need be,
Yeah.
and then go in with Hardik Pandya as the third pacer, which is quite luxury which India has gotten, but I still don't see that happening until unless the pitches are going to be very slow and are going to take a lot of turn. But India can do that. If Hardik Pandya is there, India have the luxury to play three seamers, which includes a Siraj Bumrah, and then you can go in with three spinners. Then you can share the workload between the spinner and Hardik Pandya, which
Yeah.
I think is going to be very good for India if you look at it from that perspective. But it all depends on various factors. At this point, I see uh, three paces playing, but it all depends on the Afghanistan series and also the IPL as to who those three paces are going to be. Unfortunately, we don't have a lot of games left. But having said that, you mentioned about we'll dwell slightly into that India A match as well. India scored 419 on the first innings, then India bowled out
Yeah.
South Africa for 319. Prasad Krishna picking up 5 wickets. Very, very impressed. Sarfraz Khan scoring a vital 60 odd, which is going to be very crucial to his confidence. Overseas runs are always overseas runs, isn't it? Because
Yeah.
regardless of you scored n number of Ranji Trophy runs, you have to score those overseas runs. But then Pradosh Ranjan Paul, Tamil Nadu, great player. Credits to India selectors for picking him in the squad and him scoring the Danny Hunt with there.
Yeah.
Magnificent to see that. I didn't think he'll be part of the squad, but he's gotten that opportunity. He's done well. Again, Dave, that's slightly disappointing. Doesn't make sense for me again how he gets that opportunity in test format. But either way, there is a Vijay Trophy. I thought he should have played that instead of going for this A tour. Ideally,
Yeah.
so or should have picked him in the one day format instead of a Sai Sudarshan. Either way, but did not make sense that he got a nod ahead in the test format, and he struggled quite a bit. But
I mean, interested to see. I actually tuned into that match. I was live on CSA, South Africa Cricket South Africa YouTube channel, and I saw Duplessis batting, and I tried to go back to check which year this is and whether if it's live or not. It was Duplessis, and he's got a very good 100 as well for
yeah,
them. I mean, he's the only one I think
he's
who
a region.
survived that. That the Indian attack. To be very frank, and good to see. I mean, also Shardul Thakur scoring 76. I think
Yeah,
that's
I
good
think that's
signs.
going to be
Yeah.
very important. I think he's going to set in that fourth seamer role in
Yeah.
that South African Test match with him scoring those vital runs. I think very important for players like this to get that call or get that
Yeah.
preference for that first Test match, which India will be playing in a few days' time from now. So for a lot of players like this, India A matches are very important,
Of course.
and especially for the Test players like Prasid and Shardul
I think
who are part of the squad.
especially, I mean, if you consider, especially now, able if you really look at it, right, IPL has kind of become a place for white ball format. I mean, before it used to be India A white ball games where players like Dhoni, Suresh Raina came up from India A to India. But now, if you look at it, the selectors go hunting to white ball formats. But Test match, you still, if you need to make it into the 11, if you need to make it into the next, the senior division, some India A games in Test cricket are so
It's extreme
important.
weather. Everyone is facing low temp. Yeah, it's very cold in Bangalore, man.
Yeah.
I'm sick. He's sick. Everyone's pretty sick. That happens, That's part of December, November in India, across the world. So can't blame
I
you.
mean, it's going to be a step up for me. I'm going to be going to Goa for December again, into the heat, and then
Yeah,
back
but
into the cold.
I'm taking a break, going into heat to Chennai. Hopefully, it's not raining. So take a couple of days break there and come
Yeah.
back, and we'll be back for the one day series to
Well,
cover
let's
it.
talk about the Test match between Pakistan and Australia.
Oh yeah, big one, big series for David Warner personally. Last series,
Yeah.
scoring 100 in his last series, and to set the tone, he scored 600s in 7 innings against Australia now, and that's
Pakistan.
against Pakistan. Sorry, against Pakistan in Australia rather.
Yeah.
That's crazy stat to have, and which includes also a 335 which he scored in Adelaide, and today topping it with a brilliant 163. I thought Pakistan bowled well towards the latter end of the game. Amir Jamal, especially running and trying to bounce Australian batters out, setting up fields which are defensive in nature. got the reward slightly, but I still think Australia are way ahead in this game
I
at this
kind of
point.
felt like although I felt Australia were tad bit, I wouldn't say lucky, but more like they had to survive that brutal spell by Kuram Shehzad. I think both the debutants, in fact, you already mentioned the first guy. I mean, but you have to say both the debutants really impressed today. And I think teams came today. Probably Australia came today preparing for Shaheen Shah Afridi, who's absolutely erratic. I just felt like if not for Shaheen Shah Afridi's erratic bowling, where he was bowling too wide, too full, too much on the pads, he was all over the place. If not for that spell, I think Khurram Shehzad would have picked up a wicket because he was bowling that well. He was getting the ball to seam in, seam away, some really tight spell. But then, I mean, Shaheen Shah Afridi was not
But
there
I
anymore
still
at
think
all.
at
So
this
I
point,
think he recovered slightly towards the
yeah,
second half of it. I
yeah.
think after the lunch, when two wickets fell quickly, then there was a recovery by Shaheen Shafridi. But then I think today's pitch, the new ball
Yeah,
was very
once again, the
important.
catches,
Oh
one
yeah, the
matches,
catches.
Pakistan dropping catches doesn't help the cause. So they've been poor. They've been extremely poor. I mean, there's nothing to say. Amir Jamal dropping one, Khuram
Yeah.
Shazad dropping one. It was poor. It was like these guys are not meant to play cricket at this point. The kind of catches they've dropped. One of the catches was bizarre. So in India beat an Australian tournament. Everyone believes they're beating them with respect to experience. I think they did a good job at picking these youngsters, but I think they're way too inexperienced for Australian conditions.
Yeah.
And to make a debut in a pitch like Perth against a quality Australian team was higher in confidence. Now, if you look at that Australian 11, most of them are World Cup champions, right? They just came off a World Cup win, and they're World WTC champions as well. So it's so hard to beat this team in this form. Even if India goes white now, India would struggle because it's a different team altogether. You had that in 2021, you had Virat's captain, Rahani's captaincy. That was different. That was different. You had Ravi Shastri in the back room. I love the fact that Ravi Shastri is part of the commentary and they address him as
Hmm.
the Australian series winning coach. So that's a lot of respect. You
Yeah.
know you've done something great when you are addressed in such a way. Ravi Shastri is a neutral commentator, is a joy to hear. And but yeah, talking about the match once again, I think they would want to send out a statement to Mitchell Johnson saying why you shouldn't be saying such nonsense. I mean, I really understand. What was the need for Mitchell Johnson to
I
go after
mean,
him?
yeah, it was such
26
a
Test
stab in
hundreds.
the back. It's gone. It's forgotten. See, I understand whatever happened was not right, and it's fair. I think the players have gotten the just punishment. David Warner, Steve Smith did not play for a couple of years. At the end of the day, there have been. I mean, we have had legends bite the ball and get farewells. So I just want to say, it's just unfair on them. It's not even part of their legacy. I think for me, both Steve Smith and David Warner,
Yeah.
they've rebuilt that legacy back. I know Steve Smith has struggled slightly in white ball, but still in red ball he remains an undisputed goat of this
Yeah.
generation. David Warner, he's become I think he scored now the most hundreds as an opener. He's crossed I think he's become 49. If he scores 100 in the next innings or in
Yeah.
the course of the series, he'll become the first ever Test opener to score 50 centuries, and that is some feat, because this lad. I mean, you'd have to say, it's never been easy in Australia. I mean, not just for in Australia, but he's played all around the world. And for someone like him, he debuted in T20 cricket. If you guys remember, right off the bat, he debuted in T20 cricket, and from there on, he transitioned into Test play as a Test player. No one ever expected him to be a
Yeah.
Test player,
Yeah.
but he's definitely going to retire as one of Australia's best ever Test openers out there. So. Just unfair to bring him in out of nowhere, and it's just great championship material as well that David Warner is. Comes back with 164 against his favorite opposition, being Pakistan. I think he's also scored the most runs against Pakistan
Yeah.
as an opener, of some record of that effect. So I think I still feel Australia did not build to the extent they should have. I mean, Khawaja got a very good start.
I still think there's
just let
plenty
it
left
go.
for them to
Uh,
score today, to score tomorrow. I think if they
Yeah.
can add 80, 90 more, I think game is set in match for
But
me.
one advantage that Pakistan does have is one more wicket, and they suddenly have Mitch Stark coming in. So
Yeah.
that's one advantage that you suddenly see Pakistan have. It's not as long a batting lineup, especially with Cameron Green missing out. And by the way, I mean, news related to Cameron Green, he's been diagnosed with stage 2. I forgot what it
He's
was.
been suffering that for all
He's been
the
suffering, but I think he's revealed it now to
Yeah,
the
he's revealed
public.
it
So
now.
great to see, a champion cricketer like him. We've never expected. I mean, never expected that to be on. I mean, it's never affected his performance in the field.
ever.
But great to see, him fighting.
It's finally
out and-
revealed that
Yeah,
he's
and I
suffering
think-
that since childhood.
Of course.
So yeah, that's been the case.
But yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
so that's one advantage for them. I mean, especially, I think Pat Cummins still can contribute 20,
Mitch
30
Stark
runs,
can,
which Stark can
Nathan
do.
Lyon can.
But even then, you would have to say that the batting is slightly not as.
I still
long.
think that's enough for a Perth test match. It all depends on Pakistan's batting as well. How much can
Yeah.
they score? And Australia will not be giving any freebies like what Pakistan did. So I think it's a little too many for Pakistan at this point. Even 350 on Perth is very good in my
And it's
opinion.
not an easy pitch, by the way.
Yeah,
And we
it's
saw the
gonna-
new ball do something.
Yeah,
I just felt Pakistan wasted the new ball.
a lot. Pakistan did
Yeah.
waste a lot of things, and I think this test match is over for me. I think Australia winning this quite comfortably. If there was 250, 240 odd, I still think that would have been something to make out of it. Until unless Pakistan picks up 5 wickets in 10 runs from here on, put
Yeah.
some kind of pressure, that's going to give them some bit of momentum. But I still think they'll end up scoring more 60, 70, or 80 runs. And that's going to be a game setting match. And for Pakistan to come out, they'll have to bat out of the skin, which is not going to be easy. I think Nathan Lyon is going to be equally hard to play in this pitch as much as the paces are going to be. And you saw with that experience which Nathan Lyon has got, I think he'll generate a lot of drift and bounce in this wicket, which I still see a lot of Pakistani batters struggle, even in his off spin in Australia. So it's going to be interesting. Sarfraz Khan was chosen over Rizwan very interestingly
I
because
think that makes sense to me.
it didn't make any sense
It
because
didn't make sense to you?
I obviously do not expect Sarfraz Khan is a better player of spin, not a best player of pace to be in this squad in Australia. At least I expect Rizwan to be there in
No,
Australia.
I think the reason why they went with Sarfaraz is not because Rizwan is a bad player, but he's just not had that form. He's not at all shown the credibility of being a test
But it all
batter.
depends now on
I
Imam
think-
and Abdullah Shafiq and all these
Yeah.
guys, how they can play in
I
Australia.
think it's going to be huge, big test. I mean, it's going to be big
I think
test for
Shan is
Shafiq.
going to be interesting to watch.
I mean, Short Sakil, Aga Salman, and Fahim Ashraf. I think all
They
these
all
lads-
struggle against short ball. So
Yeah.
it's a very tough task for them all together, to be
Yeah.
honest, in this test match.
And I think that's where Babar and Shan Masood are going to be the most important batters tomorrow. I mean, tomorrow coming up, if Pakistan, I think Australia will want to bat for another couple of sessions. That we knowing Australia, they'll want to bury Pakistan in the first innings itself, and they just ball.
And if Mitchell Marsh gets going, which he possibly can, I
Yeah.
think then it's going to be very dangerous for them. And even Alex Carey is not a bad batter, especially in test format.
I think Alex Carey, you'll feel, Alex Carey loves these kind of pitches. He's someone who's really strong off the square the wickets on both, square the wicket on both the sides. Doesn't like those pitches where he has to drive down the ground, and that's where he struggled in India before in Test cricket. But I think he's a very, very potent batter when it comes to Test cricket in Australia at least, and he's shown that as well. He's played some important innings for them, lower down the order, and I think he's someone who's going to be important, especially considering that there's only one more wicket before the tail comes in.
Yeah, and that's about from us. We'll be joining you tomorrow as well. We'll be hopefully joining you tomorrow or through the course of the test match and one-day series. We'll be covering the football action as well as we promised. We're going to keep the football action on. Thank you once again. Have a good night, all of you. See you all very soon and enjoy the games. And do not forget to check out our app, Boomer 11, as we play the football contest, and also India's one-day series is up for the grab. So check out our predictor feature and also the fantasy feature. Play the premium features with Boomer 11 as you want to win many, many prizes for absolutely free, of course, as well. So take care and see you all very soon.